I'm Rob.
And I'm Nate.
And welcome back to Rob and Nate Record a Podcast. This is episode 3 of our October 2021 theme month horror movies. And we went a little bit more conventional, kind of a callback to not something we did on the podcast, but something we've watched previously.
No, we did this one on... We did Critters one on the podcast on our first Halloween.
Yeah, something we did in our first month of episodes. We thought we'd go back to the Critters franchise. This was kind of a fluke. I just was scrolling one day on YouTube TV, and I found the new Critters Attack movie. So I recorded it in case, on some off chance, Nate and I had an opportunity to watch it. And tonight, because we watched a shorter movie, we watched Critters Attack as a secondary, another movie to watch to fill our extra time. Nate?
Shame on me.
Shame
on you.
Yeah. Aren't you glad you've completed the series now, though?
That's debatable. No, actually. Probably no.
So I will tell you a thought that I had coming into this. Mm-hmm. My expectation coming into this movie was based on the fact that this is the only rated R Critters movie. Which is interesting, because we saw a thing that said it was made for Sci-Fi, which is a TV channel, but yet this carries an MPAA rating.
Yeah. So it was released somewhere, or maybe it's for the video market. I'm imagining we're not seeing the R-rated cut, because I don't see how this is an R-rated movie.
I don't know. But based on the fact that all of the rest maintained a PG-13 rating, they put enough thought into it to maintain a PG-13 rating. Which means this one they didn't put very much thought into, which is pretty apparent.
This was crap.
Yeah.
This was really bad. This is why I don't... this reminds me why I don't bother with stuff made by the Sci-Fi Channel, because this channel full of crap.
Yeah.
It's cheaply made crap. And, you know, in preparation for this, I rewatched the Critters movies, all 4 of the previous ones.
Which is far more research than I did.
So 1 and 2... held my interest the entire time. 3, mostly. 4, I kind of had it on, I kind of half-watched it. 4 is better than this. This is easily the worst. And the reason why I would say that 4, which goes into the future and they're in space, at least it was trying something new. And it had the authorial vision, if we'll call it that, of the people that made the original films. This is just a lazy attempt to kind of recapture the original, and it's super lazy. And it has very little budget, and there's almost no people in it.
An attempt to capture the original?
Well,
you're giving them some credit.
Well, you know, nobody had done anything with this property for 30 years, so it was probably cheap to get. And Dee Wallace is the only holdover from the original films. I'm still saying she was on set 3 days at most.
Yeah.
She's barely in this thing, and the delivery of her lines, she does not give a shit.
Yeah.
she is just a paycheck. I'll take the paycheck.
Yeah.
This is really, really bad. This is one of the worst movies we've watched on this show. And it's not even like bad in like a charming way. It's just crap. It's green ooze off of a critter, and I love how the critters, like the critters in the first one, like there's some artistry to the way they looked.
The Krites.
In this one, they've got a few that are kind of up close, and the size is never consistent, which has been true throughout the property. And when they're just throwing they're rolling, and they look like they're no faces, and
or when they conglomerate into the ball.
The ball, which is crappy CGI, and when they're killing them with they've created a new weakness for them, which is high-pitched sounds, which is not in any of the other movies. And they just kind of sit there in exploded order.
Well, and it's only utilized sparingly in this movie.
Yeah. It's just awful.
Yeah.
And nobody can act worth crap. And there's hardly any people in this movie. They make the excuse that I guess it's summertime because there's this... I guess we're going to have to bother with the plot. I'm going to give that to you. Explain the plot to Critters Attack.
A reluctant babysitter must protect 3 kids from an invasion of ravenous critters. That's the IMDb synopsis. So you've got Tashiana Washington playing Drea, who is babysitting. Well, she takes Philip, her little brother, with her to babysit Jake Lacey and Trissy Lacey, played by Ava Preston and Jack Fulton. And Philip, her brother, is Jaden Noel.
We were having a hard time throughout this determining how old these kids are supposed to be.
Well, Drea is college age. We learned that Philip is 12. They don't. Did they say how old for sure Trissy is?
No, they say that Jack is 9, and Jack's probably close to 12. I looked Ava Preston up. She would have been 15 when they made this film, but she looks like she's 11 or 12.
Yeah. Well, and Jaden Noel looks like he's probably 18. And Drea, played by Tashiana Washington, I mean, she could pass for college age, I guess. But, yeah, I don't know.
Her IMDb does not say her age, actually.
Yeah.
But she's been in things for a while. And so she's her second year that she didn't get into this prestigious college, so she'd be about 19, 20. Theoretically, she's living at home, and then she has the tragic backstory that they do kind of a half-a job with, where she was out at a party and her mother went looking for her and died in a car accident. That was 2 years before, and now they live with her uncle, which is the sheriff of this town, who's white and they're black, and I don't know what the connection, like uncle in a very loose sense. Probably the guy that their mom was with at the time she died.
Yeah, who knows?
But he's the sheriff. There's apparently no other cops in town. He's the only cop we see, and he's an alcoholic. And he is, of course, eaten by Kreitz, as is most people. The best friend, Mandy, played by Alex Javen. I couldn't tell at first if she was like being sincere when she goes, because Miss Washington is a sushi delivery person and goes to deliver sushi at the college that she wanted to get into, and her best friend is there and hasn't really been talking to her since she got into that college. And she says, I'll help you out and get you a job working on campus.
For the dean of the history department?
This history professor.
Who's in charge of admissions.
Yeah, who's on the admissions advisory board. And if you work for her, then you'll get to know people, and she can put in a good word for you next year, so you can get into the only college you're interested in. Which is set up very poorly by her uncle telling her, sometimes it's about who you know, not what you know. So then she goes, and her friends tells her the exact same line. Yeah.
Who's like, she's like, well, it's babysitting her kids. And she's like, I'm not a babysitter. And she's like, well, but it's who you know.
She's not a babysitter because she had to watch a YouTube video to tell her how to babysit.
Yeah.
Because this movie is full of contemporary, in quotation mark, references to YouTube and texting and podcasts.
Jake will only text, and
and she gets this job babysitting, and we never get any specifics because the history professor mom goes away in a taxi, and I don't know how long is she going to be gone.
A minute of them showing up to babysit.
Yeah, with just this really vague recommendation from a student.
Yeah. Part of me thinks that part of this was trying to replicate, in addition to Critters, it was trying to create some level of adventures in babysitting.
Yeah, I thought about that movie.
Yeah. But it's awful.
Yeah. And so she's got these kids, and she can't really seem... Her brother comes along with her because he's got a crush on the girl.
Yeah.
And wants to hang out with her. And Drea's trying to figure out something to do with the kids, and eventually they decide to go to a park, which turns out to be a national park or a state park. And there's the park rangers that get killed by the critters.
Because this is where the critters have landed.
As well as another sushi delivery person and the YouTube channel guy with the stressed Outdoor Doug or...
OutdoorDougie.com.
OutdoorDougie.com.
Which is not a real website, but it is a YouTube channel.
Mm. And they find this, basically Gizmo the critter, as a kind of has a different color.
Later discover is the queen of the critters.
who Trissy names Bianca, and who has very limited motion for her animatronic self. Spends most of the time in the back of a backpack, peeking out.
This is Grogu before Grogu.
We got,
Just kidding.
what did this movie cost to make?
Let's see if it tells
It
us.
couldn't be much.
It's not giving me budget or box office or anything.
Yeah, there's very little information on the
However
obvious
much
sources.
it cost to make was too much.
It's got a mere 44% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is way high for it. It's just a really mediocre movie. I think that when I heard that this existed and that Dee Wallace was in it, I was kind of excited. I'm like, well, maybe somebody
Which
has
is why I recorded this.
something, has figured out something to do with this. Because even though the original films consistently went down in quality each film, they tried some different things, and it felt like the people that were in charge had some vision and some passion about it. And this was make work phoned in crap, and it was really lame. I hated this movie.
Aggressively.
Yeah.
Like you're not usually this aggressive in the thing. You even swore in a manner I'm going to have to really edit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This has an aggregate score on IMDb of 3.7 stars. I kind of wish I'd looked this up before I picked Critters to watch.
Yeah.
I kind of am regretting that we didn't watch Lamageddon.
Yeah.
I think Lamageddon might have been better than this.
It may have been marginally better than this.
Yeah.
Because I have no emotional attachment to llamas.
Yeah.
And not that I have an emotional attachment to Critters, but I've liked Critters 1 and 2 quite a bit.
Yeah. So, Nate, how would you rate this movie?
This is 1 star, 2 on the 10-star scale.
So you're putting this pretty close into the Star Wars Holiday Special range. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch the Star Wars Holiday Special.
You swore you'd never watch that again.
It is like, Nate, you have to watch either Critters Attack again or the Star Wars Holiday Special. I'm going to take the Star Wars Holiday Special.
I don't know. I think we made fun of this more, actively made fun of this more than we did at the Star Wars Holiday Special. I honestly don't know which one I'd watch.
Hey, whatever happened to the freaking the sushi guy? I thought Sushi Guy was coming back at the end because he had the best knives and he was really...
The best knives and the best blades in the business.
Best blades in the business. And he was making real progress against the critters attacking this strip mall sushi shop. And I thought he was going to show back up at the end. They set that up.
They must have shot him with one of his barbs.
It never... this movie literally just ends. It just... The Dee Wallace shows up at the end. She's got her space gun. Somehow she became a bounty hunter in the last 35 years, hunting Kreitz. And they go to this supposedly famous steps at this campus, and the Critter Ball, last seen in Critters 2, comes down, and they blast it, and they get ooze on them, but not nearly enough ooze for the mass of that
the number of them
thing.
that they shot.
And then the brother
blew
says...
up in 2 shots, even though the other critters all take at least 1 shot.
Yeah, and then the brother says, "See, I told you aliens were real," and then cut to director's credit. What? Is that really is that the scripted ending? I hated this, but I want to know more about the process of making it. That's to see where it went off the rails.
Yeah.
Probably from the moment it was greenlit because Sci-Fi Channel got the rights to this as some sort of settlement for something else, or...
Well, so this is kind of funny. So Dee Washington's in this, right?
Dee Wallace.
Dee Wallace. But did you catch what her credited name was?
Aunt Dee?
Oh, it says Dee in this. Okay,
Yeah.
Hold on, let me pull this up. Dee Wallace, after this is coming from IMDb, the trivia section, after 30 years of having participated in Critters in 1986, retakes her character from Helen Brown. However, she declared that the character was renamed as Aunt Dee for legal reasons between Warner Brothers and the writers of the first film.
Really?
Yeah.
So even the writers of the first film, do not approve of this, and I'm on their side.
Yeah.
It's just crap.
Yeah, I'm pretty much where you are. I'm going to give it 0 on the 4-star scale, but on the 10-star scale, I'll give it 2. So this was pretty bad. So I'm sorry, Nate. I kind of let you down on.
Wow. Now I can get away with whatever I want next week.
Well, Kind of makes me regret that I didn't show you like the first Goosebumps movie. That probably would have been better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm Rob.
I'm Nate.
And this is Rob Nate Record a Podcast. This is
Episode 3.
Hold on, I'm moving the mic around, so it's going to make weird noises.
Better not edit me, you rat bat.
You want me to leave your cusses in?
You could do what you want with it. But that's a line from the movies. So.
Well, yeah. You aggressively hated this.
Yeah. I usually don't. I mean, I it's like somebody took the time to make a movie. I'm usually have some sympathy. You know, it's like I don't generally hate a movie. Yeah. I'll dislike movies or it won't do something for me, but I don't generally get angry at them.
Well, you got angry. That's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
I got you angry at a movie. So what are you going to do to get retribution? Or are you just going to move past it?
I'm going to kill you with kindness, probably.
Hey, at least I was trying something out of the box.
You were, and I was, out of the things that you had broached as possibilities, this seemed like, because I'd already seen one, and the other one was Armageddon, and we'd seen the first Critters, and it's like, there might be some nice symmetry to that.
That was my thought coming into this, but yeah.
Yeah, and we would have been better off seeing any of the other Critters movies.
At least I was like making some effort to go out of the box, because, yeah. This has typically been your domain, but at least I made some effort.
There you go.